So today I'm making this video because literally it's been 20 years since I dislocated my knee at a track meet, and wasn't the start of things really, because when I think back to it after getting this diagnosis, I had a lot of issues when I had stuff with asthma, and it makes more sense now why my stomach is. I don't think it is ever going to be the same. I don't think a lot of things in my body are going to be the same. And I think about how if maybe I would have gotten Factor or any of that other stuff, or if I would have been believed, or just a lot of things. I'm tired of my parents looking so fucking shitty. Some of the medication I was taking for my bulging disc in my tailbone tore my fucking stomach back up again. And I didn't realize that Celebrex functions like Advil and Aleve does. So I didn't feel it as much when it was tearing up my stomach, and I forgot to take my Carfate, my Protonix with it to really coat the lining of my stomach so I could take it. And now I have a pretty decent ulcer. And I tried exercising a bit the other day. I kind of ripped it open. And I can tell that I did, not just because of my appearance, because I literally look like I haven't slept, even though I've been sleeping a lot. And I actually took 2 more iron supplements, those big ones, the 65 milligram ones, to help me wake up. I'm gonna have to chug some vitamin C, whether it's orange juice or cranberry juice, whatever, to really help me wake back up again. Maybe have a cup of coffee, but I still gotta be careful because I'm nursing. And I already have a pretty gnarly headache, so I don't want to make it worse. But anyway, that's some of the shit that I got to deal with, that I just sit there and I think wow. Factor really changed my life, and now here I am faced with a new opportunity. And what I mean by that is Tuesday I get to do an interview for the people. Granted, it's a pharmaceutical company, but I do like the things that they do with reaching out to the bleeding people who have bleeding disorders. The community there, it's really huge. And it's really made a really profound impact on my life. So that's the other reason why I want to do this interview, and why I'm also going to be posting this on YouTube, because I'm really trying to get over different things, because I can't let this fucking bitch get away with it. I got so fucking lucky. So fucking lucky this time. You have no idea how grateful I am to the team of doctors that I've found here. They really, especially my new hematologist, she really saved me on a lot of levels, because I'd never had a doctor actually see me as an actual fucking human being. It didn't make me feel bad. about whatever it was that I was dealing with, because she herself had been through it too. And that made me really sad that there was somebody else in the world out there like that. But it also made me feel really good to see how she was able to overcome it, and really, thanks to her, like that really, I'm really grateful that she's there, because she helps a lot of people, a lot of women, and I wish there were more doctors like her out there. And a lot of them aren't. A lot of them have God complexes. This fucking bitch out of New Jersey, when I said I almost bled to death, like, I really almost bled to death, and I feel like I've been given a second chance. And for a while here, I really haven't been able to figure out what to do with it, right? So last year, around this time, in the beginning of the pandemic, just before the beginning of the pandemic, after I had a miscarriage and I'd already been bleeding for a while, and it just like made it worse because I had to go back to see this fucking bitch. I went back to see her like 3 different times after I had my first son, and each time I was really fucking bleeding. And this bitch, and she knew nobody was ever going to fucking believe me, because why would a doctor do that? Why would a woman do that to another woman, right? She knows how hard it is. This is an older woman. She obviously has worked very, very hard to get to where she was. My grandmother was the same way, so I know she must have gone through shit. I was a bit of a pioneer in the field and all that other probable bullshit, but at the same time, it's like, she laughed at my pain, she laughed at me, and I know, every time I went to go fucking see her, she didn't understand why I went back either, and I kept telling her, I was like, I don't understand, because I don't understand, because the initial diagnosing physician that I saw as a child would not say that to me, would not give me the diagnosis of von Willebrand's if he did not really believe it, because, and he did what any due scientist does, performed his test, checked it out, and gave me my medical history, everything, and this fucking bitch, she had my fucking record, she had his number, I emailed that man's office, and nobody fucking believed me. He actually turned me away. But I went to see him. He didn't believe me. I had to beg him. Then when she started fighting me over releasing my own fucking records, and there's federal and state laws that protect my rights. Oh, but you know, when I contacted the ACLU about all this shit, you know, not only was I in a super emotional state, couldn't fucking articulate it, but was so fucking angry enough that I wanted to do something about it, that fucking emailed them. I told them, and when they dug into it, they covered their fucking tracks. And I told this lady there that they were gonna do it because I had made a complaint about a gynecologist at that place because of a note that she put in my record. And when that doctor asked me for my history, I didn't know this man from shit in the hole in the ground, but I had promised my husband to go get checked out after I had a miscarriage. And I dragged my feet and I wouldn't fucking do it. And he fucking made my life hell. And he didn't understand why I didn't want to go fucking do it and why I didn't want to go to see any other doctor. After the level of humiliation I went through, and I was very, very anemic. I was going through iron supplements like they were candy. And by the time that I went to go get it checked out, because I was smart enough to take the iron supplements and knew how to listen to my body enough to take them when I knew my body needed it the most. Because if you're not careful with iron supplements, you can really make yourself sick. And the only way to fix it is by letting blood. Which is the other reason why I'm so fucking mad at this bitch. Because if you're anemic, and when they have to do some of these genetic testings and clotting factors and all this other fucking shit, man, they take like almost a pint of fucking blood sometimes from you. So if you're already anemic and they're taking more fucking blood from you, and your body's already struggling to fucking fix itself, like, you know, that's just bad news fucking bears for whoever that person is that they have to deal with. And I didn't know how to tell. I didn't know how to articulate it, and I couldn't get anybody to believe me. And if I want to still be married, I have to find a way to let that shit go. Because at the end of the day, I have to ask myself, is my love greater than my anger? So, the main purpose of this video is me just kind of talking about this shit. Me talking about my idea, and me finally talking about my ghost story, because I told myself that I was going to do this. I wasn't going to drag it out. I've been writing it out, and I actually want to post it on the internet, because when I was in the beginning of dealing with my grief and everything, I was really trying to figure out how I wanted to change my life, because I was in a really dark place. I mean, like, shit. I was just in this lawsuit with my brother and my dad, and prior to that, I had followed my dad on this dream, and we got money from the gas companies. A lot of foolish mistakes were made, and by the time that I realized I was trying to stand up for myself to fix it, it was too late. My dad was already pretty mad, and he didn't fucking believe me, and he had every right. And when I did finally marry my husband, that was when everything fucking hit the fan, and just was the best time and the worst moments of my life all in one. The way that my firstborn son's birth was. And there are things that I did not understand when I was a child that I now understand as an adult. And I see my parents and my grandparents, my aunts and my uncles, and a lot of people in just different lights, because I can see them now. And this probably sounds weird, but I can see them now. It's the people that they are, the human that they are, in a way that I could not, and I understand them a lot more better. And that's why I would really like a second chance at different things, because I would like to attempt to make things up to them. Because my biggest regret in life was not being able to find my voice sooner. And when I was in the midst of working out and putting my body back together, that's when this idea from a dream that I had started clicking. You see, I had to be induced because I was pre-eclamptic. Bo had already tied a knot in his cord. He did it at like 31, 32 weeks, somewhere in between there he did it. And I knew he did it. I mean, like, he stopped moving as much. I went to the doctors, and they told me that there was no way that I could have felt him with the umbilical cord, that there's these protective jellies and all this other stuff, and there was no way that he did that. And even if he had done it, the only way to tell for certain is if they injected the placenta, and they would need to use a very big needle, and there was a high chance that they could really hurt him because of his size. So did I really think it was worth it to do this? Because even if it was, like, there was nothing that could be done except they would check me a little bit more closely. So I cried. Because my husband agreed with the OB and told me that I was crazy, not more than... He was telling me I was crazy on the car ride down, and he was telling me I was crazy on the car ride back. The knot came out first when I pushed him out. It's the very first thing. I had to read about it in his chart. Nobody told me. Oh, wait, no, my mom told me. My mom told me. But what's funny, and that's back at the dream. So after I had been induced, what ended up happening is when the time came, I'd already been in labor, induced labor for 24 hours. And at that point, they're like, okay, so we're going to break your water, you're 6 centimeters, we're going to break it, and things are going to speed up now. And I was like, okay. And at that time, you know, I had my Dilaudid drip, which was really good. But it didn't really help with the pain a whole lot. And as soon as they broke my water, within like 3-5 minutes, Bo wrapped the cord around his neck. He started kicking me so hard. I saw that heartbeat go down on the monitor. My mom and my husband were out getting a snack because I had decided that I didn't want them in the room for certain things because, you know, they're not the most supportive people. They try, but, you know, some things I'd just rather do on my own. It's fine. And I called the nurse. Nurse said that we see it, we're monitoring it, but he's okay because it comes back up. I told her he's kicking me so hard. That it hurts, that the drugs are not helping, like he's hurt, there's something really wrong. And I think the cords are wrapped around his neck. Can you, like, we need to get him out. She walked out. She says she go talk to the doctor. She walks out. Those two walk in. And I tell them, hey, he wrapped the cord around his neck. It was time to push that button, and Bo was kicking me so fucking hard, so I pushed it. Nurse came back in. She said, no, gonna ride this out. Husband asked a little bit about it. Takes his fine. Said I could not fucking believe it. I started to fucking pass out in shock. She's like, oh, I see those drugs starting to kick in, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, if my baby could die of me. And that was it. I passed the fuck out for about six and a half hours. During that time, I had the fucking creepiest dream. It was so fucking real. But I know that it's not, because it's just a dream. But I've always been a little bit superstitious, and when I was a mortician, or was attempting to be one, you know, I would have some of the freakiest dreams, have the freakiest experiences happening around me, and everybody else would kind of like talk about it. And that would be my first experience in saying that ghosts are real. Yeah, their spirits definitely like hang around, and they're definitely there. Like with my neighbor at the time, I was living in Ellsworth with my dad, Linda Squirrel. She died, she OD'd, she didn't mean to. She was the opioids, and she had COPD mixed with some cough medicine. So it wasn't accidental. She died in her sleep. But I don't think she knew that she was dead, because one day I was working on a body and I heard in my ear, and it felt like she was like right there, and she goes, ew, Julia, that's not what you're gonna do to me, right? Like, she felt right there. And we buried her, and I went to see her. Not more than a day later at her viewing. She looked good. She looked good. But, you know, so in this dream, I'm there walking around in a forest under the light of a big full moon. Biggest moon I've ever seen in my life. Everything's lit up like the sun, like it's daytime. And I'm wearing a red dress. But because it's night, it's tinged that blue, so it's like a deep scarlet red, but in certain lights you can still see that it's a vibrant red. It's like the, I don't know, like that dual chrome thing. I just remembered how it looked in the light. And I remember holding like this golden ball of light. And in it, like I could kind of see Bo's face. And then I hear like laughing, like children's laughing or whatever, and like there's this party. I see more glowing, and it looks like there's a bonfire or whatever, so I'm like walking toward the beach next. Don't know how, don't know what happens next. Next thing I know, I'm up on a beach. Walking towards this glowing tree. This glowing, beautiful flower tree. All these flowers are coming out. And it smells really pretty. And there are like all these glowing balls up there, and there's just all this glowing light, and it just feels really nice and warm and inviting and safe. So me and my Bo, we walk over. We sit under the tree. And when we sit under the tree and I lean there, that's when I see it. I see the cord wrapped around his neck. And I can't pull it off. I can't pull it off. But I see it, but he's okay. His light's okay. He's okay. He's okay. He's okay. And then I see, because I'm overlooking the water. I don't know if it's the ocean or a lake. I don't know. It's just a body of water in the moonlight. And I look over and I see this white wolf. This glowing, beautiful looking white wolf with piercing gold eyes. Like, there's this beautiful wolf chilling on the water. And you know, I hear like some rustling in the bushes and whatever, and I see like, I don't know, shapes and shadows of animals and something that looks like wolves. Kind of look like coyotes or whatever. And, you know, they're just there darting about. I don't know how much time passed like that, but I know that when it came time to push, it was literally feeling like the worst dump of my life, and that's what woke me up, was feeling like I had to take a shit, if you can believe that. That's what fucking woke me up. I looked at my mom and I told my mom, I was like, hey, you know, I think it's time, right? Had to be like around 11:30, midnight, something like that. They all come in, they turn on their lights, and they're like, okay, does she got everything? We gonna have a baby, right? And my mom chimes in and she says, they never gave her her medication. See, I had been to see the hematologist earlier that day as part of my, I was 36 weeks and 5 days at that appointment. And I had to see her 4 days prior, where we had to talk about the medications that I would have and the type of treatment I was going to need while I was there in the hospital, and follow-up care and all that other stuff, because I was a bleeder, right? And even though the entire time she kept maintaining that she did not believe that I had the fucking disease, because I dislocated my jaw when I was 16, because I got cheeky with some physical therapists. So that's why I have issues with TMJ, because I was in a physical therapy boot camp a lot when I was a kid. And all those people did was teach me how to take a fucking beating. That was it. That was the only thing I learned. But I did learn how to get in good shape and learn how to push through the pain, so that was kind of cool too. So I guess it wasn't all for nothing. 20 years. And my dad's been telling me that the only way I was going to learn was through pain. And this has probably been the most painful lesson I have ever learned in my life. Literally almost dying because I could not properly communicate. And then not being able to be believed. So in this dream, when my mom said that, and they said, what do you mean? And I remember distinctly everybody in the room looking shit-faced. Like, what do you mean the medication wasn't ready? And then I heard the nurse call out to the doctor, the order was never put in. And they were like, what do you mean the order was never put in? I couldn't get an epidural or anything else when I met with an anesthesiologist, because I told them I have von Willebrand's and I bleed around needle sites. And that is why I was not a candidate for that. And he believed me. This man, he believed me. He goes, I ain't fucking with this. Granted, you know, He believed me. That's the important part. And because this is a teaching hospital, I don't even know where the attending was. I think it was a bunch of students that delivered me, which was fine. But attendings only come when there's a problem, right? And for 45 minutes, I had to hold Bo in. 45 minutes with him kicking so fiercely, like my abdomen hurt so bad afterwards. Like, wow, like he really stretched those muscles out. Like he was really kicking and fighting in me, and my body had become his prison. And I couldn't get anybody to fucking take me seriously. And if you know anything about bleeding disorders, there's a 50-50 chance that kids may get it. And if it's a boy, boys suffer more severely with it. So the chance of a boy having it with a mother that does have it is, odds ain't too good for that kid if he has a complication. And Bo was one of them. Bo spent 17 days in the NICU for brain hemorrhages. And when I was pregnant with my second son, John, and I was able to actually get the factor made like such a huge fucking difference. Like, wow, I like really felt, even though I had a reaction immediately when they did it because they pushed the solution too hard, you know what? And they blew that vein. I had to have them do it again. I felt like Superwoman. Even though I had just pushed him out, I was sore, but I wasn't like as sore as I was with Bo. Like I wasn't in excruciating pain just moving around. Like with John, I was like, damn, that was like a really rough run. I was sore, but I was able to bounce back. And you know what the best part was? Is they were just keep bumping me up a bit. And it made me feel so good. And my body finally had what it needed. And it was like, wow. So this is what it's like to function on another wavelength. Wow. This is really cool, right? I have to wrap this up because I hear my son starting to wake up, but I just wanted to finish my ghost story because this is actually the first time I ever talked about everything in any sort of way, and I actually want to finish writing it out. And then, so the main part of all of this, even though parts of this are a ramble, is that I think I've discovered a way to help heal our world. And the first time I went about trying to talk about it, oh my God, I fucked up. I fucked up so hard with that. Yeah, that's Bo now. So I guess this will be part 1.